Couldn't be a better morning. So, do you remember I was reflecting on that time, the very first time I said I love you?
Oh, really?
Do you remember?
How could I forget?
I just remember like knowing that day that I was gonna say it, and I kind of knew you weren't ready to say it back.
How did you know?
I mean, you were standoffish. You were already kind of hesitant to commitment. So
I was hesitant to commitment?
Yeah.
You mean how I tried to break up with you?
Yeah, you did try to break up with me.
Did I give you a good sign?
I was a little concerned about your commitment level, but I know I wanted to say it. And do you remember what you did right when I told you?
Well, I put myself back in the moment. Of course, what I was doing was I got up and started folding my clothes since it was a Sunday. I just wanted to get ready for the week, and honestly, I was pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what else to do, I'd probably only heard from my parents, who were like the only people that ever told me that they loved me. On top of that, I had never said it to anyone, basically. I mean, I could count on my hand 5 times that I'd said, I love you to anyone. That included my parents. So when you said it to me, it's funny to think back because it's not like it was a conscious choice. I'm gonna get up and start folding my clothes. But it was kind of like, okay, wow, this is getting pretty serious from this girl's perspective. And so, yeah, I just started folding clothes. And
I just remember literally saying I love you, and then you go, thank you.
Yeah, I did say I said thank you, at least, like a movie.
It was in slow-mo almost. So you're like starting to fold your laundry, and I'm laughing inside. But here's the thing, like I remember it was the first time in my life that I wanted to say it, not because I thought you'd say it back or because I needed to know you loved me back. It was like for the first time in my life that I wanted to say it because I did unconditionally love you.
Oh, wow.
It was like, even if you weren't ready to say I love you or ready for that level of commitment, like I had done all other relationships more conditionally. Well, I'm sure they love me, so I feel confident giving my love. Or they already told me, so I'll tell them back. Or they're giving me all the attention I want, so then I'm gonna say I love you. And I just knew, I was like, this is gonna be the first time I truly say it because I'm ready to love you, even if you're not ready to love me back.
So not seeing my parents like be in a conversation necessarily or really handle emotions as they came up.
Right.
That's how I did it, and it was like, I never thought about that there was a better way or that this wasn't a good way. And, for all my relationships, which were very few.
Wait, how many, like 2 or 3 relationships?
Honestly, and like 3.
Okay.
I mean, only one of them was, oh no.
No?
No.
What, did you
I
ever
think
want
inside,
to?
you know what, did I ever really want to? I mean, I wanted to I think I wanted to feel love.
Like you wanted to feel loved by someone else?
Yeah. I don't even know if I would have actually said that early on, there was just something about having a girlfriend, which was it kind of validated something, like I was seen as valuable, or, because everyone else I knew was in and out of relationships.
Okay. So you wanted to feel love, but you weren't even like ready to say it, or it was like this want, but not ready. So it almost sounds like you weren't really, as you were growing up, it was a loving household. Absolutely. I mean, your parents are amazing, but there was some block for you around love.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that when we got together, we just had 2 totally different experiences around love growing up. And like I said, I wanted to, for the first time ever, like say it and mean it. So I'm curious what you think is kind of the difference between unconditional love and conditional love. I think a lot of people say I love you, but then all of a sudden they don't. Like you can just fall out of love, or?
Well, all right, so you know movies, right?
Yes. Well, we love movies.
Yeah. There's so many scenes where someone says, or you see this in like reality TV as well.
Right.
Someone opens their heart up and puts their heart in a line and says something like, I I love you,
Right.
or even earlier on, like you want to go out with somebody, if they feel at all rejected, they're like, well, fine. I didn't love you anyway. Yeah, I don't want to go out with you. That's right. And it's like, so all of a sudden, unless it is returned, then it's so easy for people just to say, oh, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
So it's so conditional.
Or like,
I will put my heart out there, or I'll say that I love you, only if it's like safe enough,
right.
or only if it comes back. So it's very conditional. If you, then I. Ellie, come.
We got a treat for you. She's coming for the treat. Let's give her one.
That's love right there, right? You come for the treat. That's pretty conditional.
I know. That is unconditional. No, I feel like
Ellie,
she
come.
has moments of unconditional love. Ooh.
Actually, dogs for sure show
yum.
unconditional love. You know what I mean?
I'll give you more if you sit. Good girl. Yum. Good girl, honey.
No, you could yell. You could yell at a dog, and then it's not going to go away from you. It's actually going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry.
I love you. Let me give you
Let me lay on your
kisses.
lap anyway.
Aw.
Do you love?
When we sit and create love within us and have that energy, that intention come from within instead of externally here, here's the thing. Then acting from the love languages isn't an obligation. It's what's inspired.
Hello.
I really
good,
got
yeah,
it when you were
yeah.
saying, it's like, okay, we still might do the love languages, but when we're generating the love from within and we're choosing that and promising, internally, like, I'm gonna be loving today, then the inspiration comes to act from the love languages. And it's not an obligation. Like, I think for a lot of people, it's kind of like, you haven't been doing my love languages, and so people might even say that to each other, to their partner, or the partner might be like, oh, they wouldn't, of course, say this out loud, but internally it's kind of like, oh yeah, I gotta do their love languages. I gotta show them that they're loved. And so it's almost like love can become an obligation or something that takes energy. People talk about, oh, like relationships take this hard work. It's like, okay, well, what if the way you started your day was so intentional that it didn't feel hard to be loving?
Well, think about this. I mean, just for our society, like, what's really going to change the society, the way people see each other?
Right.
It's not going to be hate with more hate.
Right.
It's not going to be. It's hard. If you can be love to someone that is showing you the total opposite of it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else that has the force to change the entire universe as that does.
So what I'm hearing in that is, even if your partner, this is what we'd say to couples, even if your partner hasn't been love themselves, because maybe you're going through a tough season, it's been bland. I mean, what's going on right now with quarantine is a lot of people are kind of in a laid back, stressed, uncertain place, and so the eye is off of love. A lot of times it's kind of like surviving. And so what we'd say to couples is, there will be this powerful momentum if even one of you, of course it's ideal if both of you choose this, but even if one of you says, I'm going to wake up and be loving today, it's going to create this ripple effect with your partner, and then your life is going to have shifts. It's going to experience better energy. Your actions are going to be better. Everything's going to feel better.
Yeah, that was the last thing I was thinking of. What if someone was saying, well, I show my partner love and I wake up and I be love, but then by the end of the day they're like, oh, my partner didn't return it, so
right.
all right,
then they
forget
stop.
it.
Yeah, it's like a day. Like they give it a one day of trying to be loving, and then, oh, it didn't work. Well, that's conditional love. That's the definition of it.
Yeah. Well, I think for someone that might say that, again, are you going to be conditional or are you going to be unconditional? And just wake up and choose to be that.
Yeah, choose it as a promise.
Yeah, be a promise, let it drive your actions. And if you're in a relationship that, even if it's functional, rather than healthy or empowered, but you are in a loving marriage, even though you're not experiencing it, eventually that will influence your partner. I mean, I couldn't sit on the couch and not say positive things to you or start to show acts of service if each day you're waking up being love, I'm gonna naturally want to express that back.
Right.
Even in psychology, it's the reciprocity principle,
Yes,
right?
it would naturally, it'd be inspired. And here's the thing though, if you go through a tough season, I think what a lot of people do after a conflict or, you know, just something not going well in the relationship is then they pull back on being loving because they're hurt. And here's what we'd say is be loving even if it was a tough night. Like, how can you come back to love faster?
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's the question. How can you come back to love faster? Even if it was a tough conversation, even if something didn't go well, even if you've been disconnected, not having intimacy, how can you come back to love?
Has anybody ever come back to love by being angry?
No.
Have you ever gotten to love by being upset? Have you ever gotten back to love by blaming and not taking responsibility?
No.
But it's funny how often we think those paths. Okay, fine. I'm not gonna say anything to you the rest of the day. This is in my own mind.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna initiate reconciliation.
Right.
I do it too much. It's your turn.
Let me
You were
pause
the
and-
one that were wrong.
I gotta fix my shoe. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean that just never gets anybody back to love.
Exactly.
But for some reason, we allow ourselves to stay in the disconnection or the anger or the disappointment or the frustration.
Just feel compelled to give you a hug.
Oh, were you being loved?
Yeah. Being love. I love that.